All right, we are here with head coach of the Tulane Green Wave, Coach Jay Uhlman. Uh, Coach, how you feeling? How's fall ball? How's it feel to get back in the swing of things?
Yeah, it's great to be back. Appreciate you having me on to talk about our program, like always. So grateful for your investment in college baseball. And yeah, it's fall ball's going. We're entering week 3 for us as a team. And we've been training since the first week of school, but we don't get into that official team practice till kind of the middle part of October, and then we go all the way up until Thanksgiving. So, a lot of growth and development. We got some, we were pretty heavy in the portal this year, so we've got an older group that understands what you have to do and what the timing of that is. It's a lot different than being a freshman where you got no clue. These guys got a clue about what they're doing and what it takes this time of the year to start preparing for a season. So excited about them, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah, and you answered my first question. I was just about to ask you. How was the portal? How many did
Yeah.
you lose last year? And it looks like you went more upperclassmen in the portal this year.
Yeah. It was a busy summer. At one point, I think we had in a 25-day span, 20 visits within 25 days, and some of those days were the same day. Guys were arriving, guys were leaving. So it was. It's changed the way we do business. When I first started out in this thing, the second that your season was over, you'd hit the road recruiting, the high school player and maybe a junior college player here or there, but you'd be watching high school kids the entire fall, and now it's you're watching video and getting in the portal and seeing who's who and what's what, and it's changed, and so there's good things with that, and there's bad things. That the good part is it kind of goes fast and furious. Guys kind of been through the process already, so there's not a lot of you're not trying to wow them and woo the families, and there's not a lot of the people aren't taking months to figure out where they want to go. It's happening in days and weeks, and so that goes fast. You're around home a little bit more because you got to do a bunch of visits. So you're in your own bed. I mean, I would routinely, my Marriott points have taken a big hit since the portal because I'd be getting a lot of them, on the road. And my national rental car, you go from executive to just a regular old member. So, but no, it's the portal is what it is, and it's here to stay. I don't see it going anywhere, and so we're pretty active participants in it. We like to try to be a little bit older, and which means we're not going to be as young as we used to be on a regular basis. So it's been great.
Right, right, yeah. Your Bonvoy points are not where they. You know what's funny? They got this rental car called Six, where it's called
I saw that.
yeah, and you just kind of go up. So I'm pretty sure the other rental places will start doing that here soon, just because of all the technology. But how
Yep.
big is your stadium, Coach Allman? Now I've been to a lot of
Yep.
stadiums, and I've looked around, and there's been some places that have hosted regionals, and
Yep.
I don't think their stadium is as big as yours. Now that I looked at it, like when I looked at it,
Yep.
I was like, Coach has a pretty nice stadium there in New Orleans.
Yep.
And I went to there's some great ones, SEC,
Yep.
ACC, and then there's either some great ones in your conference, and then Sun Belt has some nice
Yep.
ones.
Yep.
But in the future, Coach, you've led this program to a very positive place. And thinking of the size of your stadium in the future, and I hope
Yep.
that in the very future I can be there to cover one. What do you think about you guys hosting a regional? Is
Yeah.
I think it's big enough to host a regional. You've been around college baseball for a
Yep.
while.
Yep.
What do you think about that? If you guys, ECU's another one in your conference, but yeah, like
Yeah.
hosting a regional, how would that be, in the future for your program?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate the compliment. Our stadium seats 5,000 people. It's got state of the art LED lights. So we've got every criteria that ESPN requires for you to host a regional, and so we've got to put ourselves in a position from a result standpoint and an RPI standpoint to be in the conversation. And so I think, every year we put in a bid regardless, because you never know what can happen. You get through a regional and maybe the team you're matching up with is a higher seed, but they get upset, and now you have an opportunity to host a super regional.
Right.
So there's stages of that we go through. We always put in a bid, but the money is where the money is, and so as long as the big boys continue to be in position and bring in a lot of people and money, that they're going to probably, I hate to say it and be transparent, but I think they're probably more in line than the rest of the country to host those things. But we need to do our part to host, and we hosted in 2001 and 2005 here, but we didn't at the time. This stadium wasn't fit for that, and so they hosted it in the AAA stadium, Zephyr Park.
Okay.
One against Rice, one against LSU, and both of those we won. So there's an obvious advantage, a distinct advantage to hosting. When I was at Oregon, we hosted multiple times, and so that's, to be in your own bed in that environment in your own stadium is clearly an advantage. It doesn't automatically provide you the opportunity to win in advance. That's the beautiful thing about baseball, is anybody can beat anybody. But yeah, I mean, those are what, we're trying to do. We're trying to get this program in a position where we're in the conversation to host. And again, that's going to take us playing good opponents and winning those games, not just playing them, but winning them. And, and then our opponents playing good opponents. So some of that's out of our control. But yeah, this stadium's definitely one of the better stadiums and facilities, not only in the country, but in the South too. So we're very proud of it. A lot of people, bled a lot and sweat a lot and donated a lot of money to give us the things that we have here. And they're tremendous facilities here at Tulane. So, if for some reason we ever bumped up into a different league, or, conference realignment happened, I feel pretty confident from a facility standpoint that we just assimilate right into whatever conference that would be. But obviously we're way happy with the conference we're in. We super competitive, great venues, really great coaches. I think that's the other thing with our conferences. That part's really taken a step forward, with the addition of a couple of new coaches and so forth. But really like the competitive nature of our conference. I think it's an underrated and undervalued conference.
Right. And shout out to Coach Wise out there in Oregon, good dude. And it's, speaking of that, Coach, a lot of people online, I don't know if you saw it last year with, one of the teams that you guys are usually neck and neck in getting in the tournament is UTSA, obviously ECU, obviously Mitch is at South Florida. But let me ask you on this. A lot of people were upset that last year, once UTSA, a team out of your conference that, you beat a couple times and you guys went back and forth, two great programs. They felt like once they beat Texas, like number one Texas, I think Tennessee was number one overall seed. I want to say Texas was number two overall. I can't remember. It was the top three. A lot of people were upset. They felt like UTSA should have been able to host rather than them going to UCLA. So that kind of goes back on like exactly what you were saying. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I can't speak to, what their administration did or didn't do in terms of the bidding. Sometimes,
Right.
Those things are kept out of the public, where maybe they didn't bid, and if you don't bid, you don't get it. And,
Right.
I've, having played in both venues, I will say from a crowd standpoint, both UCLA and UTSA are, they would have had to bring in a lot of bleachers at UTSA.
Right.
It's a nice park, but they're building, and I think Pat's probably within his contract extension has probably got some provisions where they need to do some stadium upgrades and in terms of those kind of things, so they can be in a position to host if they get there again. And the UCLA part, they've hosted before plenty of times, smaller venue.
Right.
But if you watch, I'm a West Coast kid, so I know watching and playing in that environment versus this side of the country where people are ravenous for college baseball, they're different environments, and it just, that part is what it is. But UTSA had a great year last year, and I did think that they were going to have trouble in that park because the ball doesn't travel real well at that kind of level where UCLA's field is. And It actually ended up working out a little better for UTSA. They played day games, which I thought would be an advantage for them. But UCLA's pitching at that point was just Coach Savage does a tremendous job, and
Right.
they just hemmed them up pretty good. And and we've been on both sides. We hemmed them up pretty good in the tournament, but they knocked the crap out of us in the regular season.
Right.
So,
Right.
So I've seen both sides of that. But two really great programs, and hopefully, schools like UTSA, ourselves, obviously ECU's done it. We can continue to have positive momentum, and we can try to host some more NCAA tournaments.
Right, right, yeah. Because I mean, Indiana State, I remember they hosted a couple years. They just added stands, and shots to both of those. I know you're a West Coast kid, coach, but even at the UTSA area, I think about it, and I'm like, okay, it's at I-10. They got the Six Flags Park there. They got the malls there. They got the movies there. They got the hotels there. I said it's an ideal place if they want to. And then correct me if I'm wrong, coach. That's UCLA. They play at Jackie Robinson, right?
They do. Yep.
Did they extend that? Because it was a big thing. Did they extend that contract with him, or what? Do you know what happened with that?
So they got back in there about a third of the way into the season, and I think they've worked out the kinks in that thing. So as far as I know, they're back in that place, in that space, full time, as far as my understanding goes.
Yeah, because they're both in the Big Ten. I remember trying to go to USC last year, and I didn't realize they were playing somewhere away from campus. They're building a park too, but. Yeah, to the fun part, coach, and I'll let you get out of here. So, I'm a Phillies fan, born and bred. I can talk Lenny Dykstra, Kurt Schilling, all that when I was a kid, late '80s, early '90s. I'm not gonna complain because some people's teams have never got there. At least I've got to see them win a World Series in my lifetime with Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and the crew. But daggone it, coach, how do we win the thing and then? Every time when we get to the playoffs, we'll fold to the Dodgers or somebody else. But yet, if we're a wild card, we'll win, and we'll get all the way to the World Series. And I thought we had it this year with Harper and Schwarber in the lineup, and Duran pitching. So I got to know from Coach J. Uhlman, now that everything is settled, who's his World Series winner, and in how many games?
I'm a Dodger guy, so I don't feel sorry for you. I'm gonna go Dodgers in 5.
Wow.
And Toronto's playing good. And I would say this about your Phillies, to your point about wild card versus first round bye, is sometimes momentum gets upset. I'm a little bit worried about that because the Dodgers have had a few days off and the other teams have been playing. So that obviously, as a coach, is a little bit unsettling just because of the momentum of those kind of things where you're just in that mode of playing. You're at the end of the year and you're almost just playing like on blackout mode where you're going and you're going and you're going. And then when you get a spot where you can kind of rest and take a second. Now, I would say for the Dodgers, who's an older veteran team, it's probably a really good thing because those guys know how to operate and get themselves ready, and it lines up their pitching pretty good for against Toronto, which is going to be problematic for Toronto. But yeah, no, it's go Dodgers in 5, and that's what I got.
Yeah, and shout out to Coach Dave. He's done a heck of a job managing that team. I have to give him props. By the way, he went on the road. It's not easy to win in Philly, and you want to take advantage of the weather by doing that because where you grew up at is you guys have great weather. In the South it's hot weather, but Southern California it has great weather.
Yes, it does. That's why people pay for that.
That you pay for it big time, man. It costs some money to go out there. They starting to come here and make Vegas expensive, Coach. I might be moving back down south in a minute. They starting to move up Vegas too much, man. Shoot.
Yeah, so you're right.
So yeah, I appreciate the time as always. Are you in any preseason tournaments this year? Because I always go to a lot of those. Or are you just hosting at home?
Nope. All just regular weekend series matchups.
Okay.
We open the year in Southern California at LMU during Mardi Gras, so I try to get
away. You told me.
I try to get out of town for Mardi Gras. We'll play Loyola Marymount and then UCLA on that Tuesday. Then we'll come back home, and then we'll go to I think week 3 or something. We head down to TCU and take them on in a 3-game series, and we got Creighton at home, Harvard at home, and So it's EKU at home. So it's a good schedule. We got Mississippi State at Biloxi. We got LSU at LSU. and then all the kind of the local, the Southern Misses, the Nichols, the Southeasterns, the New Orleans, and those kind of things. So looking forward to our schedule for sure. It's going to be a competitive one.
Absolutely. Before you get out here, one more thing, Coach. How did that scrimmage go? I looked it up. How'd your scrimmage go at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I thought, we were only a week and a half in. I told the guys I thought they made a good first impression to the outside world, and I thought it was a good competitive scrimmage. We controlled a lot of the things that we could from batting practice to the last pitch. That was our effort, our communication, our hustle. I thought we played really hard. We didn't dip our toe in the water. We went for it and played tough. So I really appreciate that. That made me feel good that that our guys are the developmental part is from not only the baseball side but the weight room. It made us feel like we didn't walk in there and I didn't feel like we were out of place. And Ole Miss got some physical dudes now. They got some,
right.
D linemen playing third base, hitting homers opposite. I mean, they got some big old dudes good stuff on the mound. Like that's a really good ball club. As you know, Coach Bianco does a hell of a job along with his assistant coaching staff. They do a tremendous job. And I really appreciated our opportunity to go down there to Oxford, go up to Oxford and get some, good 12 innings in against them, and well worth our time.
All right, that is head coach Jay Uhlman of the Tulane Green Wave. Coach, I appreciate your time as always. I will definitely try and get out there this year to cover a weekend series. I appreciate your time as always, sir.
Look forward to it. Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks, Coach. Best of luck.
See ya.